Boy, it looks like I definitely got a little bit of... Wait a minute. I've been robbed! No, just kidding. I'm actually in the middle of moving apartments, so for the next couple of weeks, the backdrop is going to look really, really boring, but you're gonna hear about that. This is episode 15 of Cardcaptor Sakura, the clear cards. This is the flashback episode. It's got the one with, they're going to Tomoyo's house to watch the video of the second movie. And once again, Facebook and Tumblr has been all over showing stuff of this already. There's a lot of those side-by-side comparisons. And from what I've seen so far, it looks like they reproduced the movie really well. Other than the color changing, which the anime is a lot brighter than the movie was. So I don't know if that's at all addressed. I doubt it will be. And then there is some kind of card captured during this one. And Mei Ling is still here. So, is this Mei Ling's last episode? Let's find out. Okay, so I'm gonna do the lightning round of animation flubs like I did last week. But oh my god, we have stencils. There is no excuse for a clock to not be round. You can buy a stencil for 99 cents. Why are clocks not round? But, you know, aside from that, this episode was cute. They go to Tomoyo's house and watch clips of the play from the second movie. I feel like this episode is just a slap to say, look, the second movie happened. Just stop talking about it, it happened. And I'm good with that. I didn't feel like we needed to devote an entire episode to that because now we're rolling into the second two-parter in this series within 5 episodes. Cardcaptor Sakura doesn't do two-parters. I don't know what to do with this. But yeah, like the episode itself is pretty empty. It does have some good comedy in it. Like Sakura's reaction to watching herself on film, I know that feeling all too well. Not from this, mind you. I've gotten used to editing my own footage, but back when I was a kid and watching playbacks of the few plays that I was in, or just the things that I performed in, it's like, yeah, it's cringeworthy. I totally get how she feels there. But then there's like also the scene where like she's putting everyone to sleep. Like she drops Sonomi and the 6 bodyguards and is just apologizing the whole time. It's very Sakura. Sonomi, by the way, is a welcome return in this episode. I'm blanking on whether or not she has been in the series so far, but no, she had to have been in the flight for at least a little bit. But this was, you know, typical Sonomi, and I always love seeing her. There's not a whole lot of substance to her, but her character is enjoyable. Like, she's the kind of aunt that, you know, I can appreciate, even though, strictly speaking, if you do the family tree, she's actually Sakura's first cousin once removed. Cousins are weird. Anyway, talking about the next episode, because that looks way more interesting than this episode, this earthquake is being caused by some fighter girl. And there's a shot of Mei Ling and Sakura appearing to strike a stance against this thing, in theory. So, well, that'll be interesting. Like, Sakura can't fight, and she doesn't have any cards that allow her to mimic motions. So, like, what is she gonna do with it? Like, what does she really think she's gonna do? But Mei Ling's gonna be dropping some action, so that's nice. I thought we were gonna get rid of Mei Ling at this point, but you know, I think in typical CCYamato fashion, I've probably jinxed it. You know, when I said like 4 or 5 weeks ago where I think Mei Ling's probably only going to be here for 1, maybe 2 episodes and then disappear because I think they're going to keep her minimal. This is what? We're going on 5 episodes now that she's still here? Guess what, guys? She might be here for the whole time. And now I've jinxed it in the other direction. But I can't win. Just don't ever bet on anything I say. What else was in this? There was a cool thing in the beginning of this episode where Akiho gets out of bed and she's got the book right next to her. The clock on the book apparently moves. Like the second hand or the minute hand on there actually moves. That's curious, but considering that I'm convinced that the book is a magic book, it's not particularly weird. I don't think there was anything else for this episode. There's some other little cute moments, like they're walking to Tomoyo's and they exchange a little bit of English, and Sakura is clearly not keeping up with her English study, because yeah, like there was nothing too complicated about that, and obviously I'm biased because I speak English, but it was pretty basic. But I think Sakura's the fact that English has become Sakura's new math is, I think, entertaining enough for her, and probably more relevant for school-age kids now that, you know, they always learn English now over Japan, so it's like, I'm sure that is a difficulty, because English is a weird language. Alright, so now, as promised, lightning round of animation flubs! There was just a lot! I'm gonna go into it, and unlike last week, I'm gonna actually do some voiceover for this, so here you go. So, starting simple here, this dinner scene, or the breakfast scene, isn't all that weird, it's just the profile shots all look weird, especially with Kaito. In this shot, I don't know who was in charge of drawing Kiro for this, but his head is really lumpy. Send this guy back to school. And also, I already said this, but the clock and the globe are both lumpy. We have stencils for this. Draw a simple circle, it's not hard. Then, once again, these are all pretty standard. I talk about these every week. The eyes just look so soulless like this. Let's talk a little extra about the classroom scenes. Like, these are all just really, really simple and lazy. All the characters are like, the faces are all dots, which is not necessarily the most outrageous, but just the posing and the proportions look really weird in this. It all looks lazy in this, and if we move into like the second one, like it doesn't get any better. The face on Sakura looks ridiculous. Naoko's leg positioning also looks weird, and I don't remember if this was like this in the movie, but Shaoran's design didn't change at all. He just put on shorts. At least Mei Ling has changed clothes in the scenes. I don't get this whole why Sakura's eyes keep turning brown in distance shots. It's like, green is not an expensive color. You're doing it digitally. Hit the right color on your bar. It's not hard. And I already said it, but those shots of the classroom, wow. I'm still really, really hoping that when this show gets released on Blu-ray, that they'll be going back to fix some of that stuff. Because that, as every week I get miffed at animation stuff, but this is the first time that it really actually got me riled up. Like, this was a bad quality episode on the technical side for that reason. And there's stuff that's like really good. It's like they switch so wildly between the good frames and the bad frames. The key frames in animation, like, you know, in between the motion, the keyframes, those are always fine. It's all the stuff in between that is so extra lazy. And as I've said every week, it's because I expect so much from this show in terms of quality. So I don't know if this is just an industry thing, but I don't think it's an industry thing, because I'm simultaneously watching Madhouse's, no, not Madhouse's, whoever's doing My Hero Academia. That looks great. There's none of this issue in that. And I know that's only 2 points, and I've been meaning to get into some more anime, but it's just, it gets to me every week, and I'd say it because I love the series and I want them to be putting their all into it, so all I'm saying is that I'm not going to be buying any hard copy of this until a final Blu-ray edition remaster is put out, I think. So I don't want this to be entirely negative. There were a lot of good things in between that didn't annoy me and that I praised. I talked about a few, but some other ones that came up. The scenes with Tomoyo swinging wildly between enthusiasm and depression is a dynamic in Tomoyo that we never really got in the original series. Like, she was always kind of pretty stable in the series, or she was very reserved, and she was, as much as she was supporting cast, sometimes she felt like background cast. So I'm glad that they're really giving her more personality, especially in the anime. Even in the manga, she doesn't have as much of this really interesting, almost psychosis at this point. Like, I want to also say, by the way, that I don't think that her level of obsession is in an acceptably healthy level anymore. I think Tomoyo is starting to move into that territory where it's becoming a hazard to her mental health, and she should probably see someone about this. Mei Ling is someone that, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I never liked in the original series. She was annoying, and I'm sure to some extent that was intentional, and to some extent that was just me who found her annoying. But in the year that she's been away from the series, she's really changed. She hasn't changed so much as she's like curbed the parts of her that made her annoying. So now I really admire her poise while being that really sassy girl who has class. She's sassy with class, is what I would say. So, like, she doesn't take guff from anyone. But at the same time, she genuinely cares about the people around her. I really like how she's like been spending this time with Sakura, bonding with her. She's definitely being that friend that I think Sakura needs right now, because it seems like really in Sakura's circle of girlfriends, she doesn't really have one of those like super supportive, like Tomoyo gives her the emotional and the just like the good friend vibes, but Mei Ling gives her the self-improvement side of a friend that, Tomoyo, you're great and all, but you don't provide to Sakura. You don't, it's a different sort of moral support. Like, Tomoyo gives her the emotional support, and Mei Ling gives that moral support. She's building Sakura up to something better. For as much as I was ripping on the school scenes for being really lazy, at the same time, there was effort put in. There is a distinct difference in the style that actually makes it look like the original anime. In the timeline, it's only been about 8-ish months. These characters shouldn't have really fundamentally changed that much over that time. And yet, they still went through the effort to make the characters look like how they did, but drew them the way they were drawn in the original movie. Like, the change in the designs is really distinct, and it's not just in stuff where, like, Sakura's got her pigtails. The way Tomoyo is drawn in the flashback is more right. Shaoran doesn't admittedly change a whole lot, but Shaoran probably changes fundamentally the least. I think they put the least effort into making him look the way he did, at least in the school scenes. In the movie flashbacks, he looks pretty fine. Mei Ling, same deal. Like, when they were redrawing the actual movie scenes, looks like they basically traced the movie, which would have been a time saver, I guess, and at least it looked good compared to everything that didn't. But yeah, like, I said a lot about the animation, but it's not to say that there isn't a lot of good in this episode too. It's just those minor technicals really get to me. So until next time, where I think next week I'm still going to be here, but I might be in my new place by then. So wherever I am, I'll see you next time for the the Shake, the Force. I don't think we're going to get the Earth card, because I feel like, you know, we've had Gale, Aqua, Blaze, whatever the Earth one is, which I think I've said is Geo, is what I'm going to think it is. It's Geo or like Stone or something. Stone. It's probably Stone, I think it's going to be. I don't think that one's going to be an anime filler episode, because I'm pretty sure the manga is building up to that one, same way that the original manga built up to Earthy. So this isn't going to be an Earth-related one, but it is going to be the first humanoid one, as opposed to a Pier. Wait, no, it looks nothing like a Pier. Never mind. I'm going to cut here. I'll see you next week. Bye.